We were thinking because we have adult quiz, and last service we had we had long message, and then what happened was that we didn't have enough time for the quiz. So we said this time what we're going to do, we're going to just go have some maybe testimonies, and then when we started sharing with people, they said what, there should be a message. There should be maybe a small message. And then I say, what, if we go to a pastor and tell him, just give 10-15 minute message, how they're going to feel about it. And so then we met in the board, and then Viren said, Vivek, why didn't you just give a short sermon? I said, okay. So that's how I am here. So please forgive me that it all happened like that. And here, so the story is here. Everyone knows the story of these 4 lepers. Here, these 4 lepers, they are outside the town, and so this is actually story in 7. But before, if you go back to chapter 6, then you see that the couple of nations, they conspired against Israel. Okay, and what they did was that they decided that we're going to take over Israel, and it so happened to be a time of famine. And so then everyone is, really starving. They don't have any food to eat. They don't have anything to drink. Okay. Now the king actually, Israeli king, he is actually roaming around in the country, and then what he sees is that a mother, 2 mothers, they are talking, and one mother is very, very angry at her because what they decided was that they're going to eat each other's kid. Okay, so one actually gave her a child, and they ate. The next day, when the other mother said, "Okay, bring your child to eat," she refused. Now, so the other mother was very, very mad, and the king, when he looks at this, he is really upset. And then his first reaction is that he is upset at who? Elisha, who was the prophet there. He's really mad. Okay, and what in turn he's doing it, he's getting mad at God, because Elisha, he's anointed by God. He was blessed by Elijah, double anointing. He got it. And king's first reaction is that he's mad at God. And a lot of times this is what happens to us, right? Anything happens, what we do is we go mad at God. Hey, God did it. And a lot of times what we do is we blame God also. In the church, pastors are blamed for a lot of things. Now the pastors have a role to play, but you have more role to play, right? If you have faith, and if you know that God made a perfect world. When God created this world, He created perfectly. But we took actually everything in our own hands, and then actually we fell in sin, and then we actually caused all the problems. But when God created, He put them in the Garden of Eden, and everything was so perfect. Right? They didn't have to do anything; just go and pluck and eat. Right? But only there was one commandment that that do not eat out of this fruit of life and death. Okay. And this is exactly what they did. They disobeyed, right? So this is what we do, is that we blame God. Now I'll give you an example. So the rules are there for your benefit. So when you're driving actually, and especially when you're going actually on freeway, and there is a curve there, and it says the speed reduces. They say drive 35 or 40 miles. Right? But I have done that mistake, that we're driving so fast, and you know what, you can do it. And what we do is we drive 75, 80 miles. Now what was going to happen is going to catch up. Sometime you are going to have problems, right? Now these people who have built the road, they know that at that speed, that something bad can happen. So what we have to do is we have to listen to the rules to protect yourself. Okay. In this world also, similar thing is, if you look at the cigarette packet, it says it's injurious to health. But we consume it, right? At some point of time, it's going to catch up with you, right? If you are powerful enough, probably you may escape, right? Now, this king, he totally forgot that what all miraculous work that through God, Elisha had done in that place, right? Amazing, amazing things had happened. He did not think about any of those, but what he did is that he started just blaming God. He did not have faith. He did not trust God. Right? Now, God sometimes, when you're asking God, sometimes God answers in three ways. I think it's a very popular saying. When you go to church, probably might have heard. God answers yes, God answers no, and sometimes God answers wait. Okay. So you can understand yes, but God is answering yes, 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 and sometimes God is saying wait, wait, wait. But why would God say no? Right? I'm going to take an example. Where is Jaden? Okay, he's gone to bathroom anyway. So I'll take the Jaden example, okay? Because he's the youngest here, that's why I'm picking on him. Right? Anyway, so you guys love Jaden so much, right? And does he love Carl like that? He does, right? Now, if Jaden says, you know what, he's 10 years, 11? 12, right? Now, Jaden comes and says, Dad, please give me this Mercedes that's right there. Give me that. What your reaction is going to be? Oh no, here, take this key, you go and drive. No, his reaction is going to be no. Why? Because it doesn't mean they don't love him. Right? It doesn't mean they don't love him, but they want to protect him. That's how God is. Sometimes God says no to protect us. So that's very, very important. You have to learn is that when God is sometimes saying no, He's blocking some doors, there is a reason. Okay? Don't get mad at God, because that's the way of God's love. So keep trusting God for His timing, His plan, His purpose. And in my personal life, this is what I keep reminding myself. Hey, God, teach me to trust you. Now there are another example is there are a lot of lottery winners, right? I mean, they win $300-400 million. But all the statistics say that after a few months or years, they are paupers, and their situation is even worse. Right? So thing is that it's not necessary that what you have it, what you do with it, that's the important thing. Right? Now here in this story, the second group of people, they are lepers. Now, how many of you have seen lepers? Some of you have seen, right? So back in India, in my hometown, once in a while we would hear the drum beats, and we could recognize these drum beats are actually where they are coming from. And after a few minutes, you will see a procession, and this procession would be by these lepers. And what these lepers used to do was that they were collecting money actually for their work. So there used to be huge bed sheet, piece of cloth, and they'll be holding from all the sides. And because the reason is you cannot go close to them. Okay? So people will just throw actually coin, and the money is going to be collected here. And the reason is that the leprosy actually is untouchable. It's very infectious. Leprosy is one of the very few diseases which is not curable. Right? So these people, they are actually living outside the city. Okay? They cannot come inside. But see the courage of these people. They think that, hey, now we don't have any choice. We cannot go inside the city to ask food because they don't have food either. So what we can do is we can go to the enemy camp who are there. Hopefully they'll give us money. And if we die, we die. Anyway, we're going to die. Right? So this is what sometimes our attitude should be. Right? Hey, you should take chances. Life has stored something good for you sometimes. So they go there, and what they see is they don't realize it, that God had already done a miraculous work, okay? And as Elisha had promised, okay, these people actually heard some weird sounds, and they thought that Israel actually got some huge army from somewhere, and these armies are coming to invade them. And so they ran away. They left everything because they were actually just wanting to save their life. So when these people come, lepers, what they do is they go in one camp, one tent, and they eat, because that was the first objective they had. Okay. They eat and nicely they drink. And then they drink. Hey, so much valuable they have left. So they collect. They go to the second tent, the same thing. After a few tents, they realize, you know what? There is no one here. Now they start thinking, saying that, we have so much of stuff here. If we don't tell the king probably will kill us. And other thing they were thinking, saying that, you know what, we were useless in the sense that we could not provide for our family, our kids, grandkids, or friends. This is an opportunity to tell them, hey, that we have got something for you, come here. So they go and tell the Israel, so outside only. And I'm just paraphrasing just to make you think. And they tell the doorkeeper there, hey, you know what? Though that place we saw that there is no one there. You can go and see. We have so much food there. And the gatekeeper, he says, hey, come on, don't make fun of us, okay? Now these people, hey, look at this gold. Look at this silver. We got people like us, from where we're going to get it. We're trying to show you something there. So the gatekeeper tells someone, and finally the news goes to the king. Now the king, he has seen Joshua perform miracles. Okay, what is his first reaction? Is he doesn't believe it. Right? And that's how our reaction is. We are praying for something, but when the good news comes, we don't believe it. Right? A similar thing happened, right, with when Paul and Silas, they were praying in the jail, right? And all the disciples, they were praying somewhere else for their release. The earthquake comes, okay? And Paul and Silas, they are released from the jail, and they come to these people. They knock the door. Paul and Silas knock the door, and those people, they don't open the door. They say, no, this can't happen. You're praying for something. You need to have faith that God will do the miracle. That's how the miracles happen. You need to trust 100%. Okay. Sometimes God has a timing. So as I said that, wait. Sometimes miracles happen instantaneously. Sometimes God wants you to wait. Right? So that's how our faith should be. Now here there are a couple of other people there in that. So there is another guy whom actually the king used to lean on. The kings are very rich people. They are royal people. They need someone else to lean on, right? So anyway, so this guy actually who was leaning on, actually the Bible says he was an officer. It's a big shot. He also says, okay, it can't be possible, right? And then Elisha had prophesied to him, saying that, hey, you're going to see this miracle happen, but you're not going to get to eat. And sometimes, we try to bring the negativity in our life, and those miracles which were supposed to happen is that don't happen, and we don't actually get to enjoy it. So very, very important is you need to trust, okay, and you need to lean on God. Interesting thing that I was just wondering about these people is that these lepers, now we don't see their names written in the Bible. Okay? We don't see anything happening afterwards. Afterwards, this miracle has happened. Right? But they did what they were supposed to do. And their story is immortal now. Everyone throughout the world, this story is preached. Right? So maybe, a lot of times you may feel insignificant. Like these people, they didn't have any limbs. And I have seen these people talking, because they don't have sometimes nose, they don't have part of their lips. You can't even understand what they're saying, right? So they are very, very minor people actually in the society. Okay, but they use an opportunity that they got it. Okay. So when God gives you an opportunity, just use it by both hands and do it for whatever God wants you to do it. Another thing I was thinking was that these people. Now Elisha had just actually healed Naaman, right? Now, do you think Naaman could have healed them also? We don't know that story, but he could have, right? And we don't know. But I was thinking, I said, wouldn't it be so great that these people were instrumental in saving Israel and Elisha heals them? It would have been such a great story. But no, there is a purpose why God actually did not, I don't know whether God healed or not, but left the story right there. Is to show that however small, whether you have talent or no talent, okay, but you have a part to play. Very important that that you can use it. Now the last characters there are two types of characters that I want to talk about is, so when those people they come and tell the king that the enemy army has gone, and he doesn't believe, and the other people also are not believing. There's one servant. The Bible says there's one servant. He convinces king, saying, "King, what's harm in just sending 5 horses? Just send it across and see. Maybe and God listens." Because you have very, very important role, and sometimes it was very small. You might be feeling it, but what the testimony you are giving can be instrumental in saving the whole nation of Israel. I have seen people actually just in passing they gave a testimony, and it did such a miracle in others' life. Similarly, in the story of Naaman, similar thing happened, right? The small girl, all he tells Naaman is that if you were there in the country of Israel, that you would have been saved. Right? So we have an important role. Don't think that you're small, big, whether you're a pastor or not pastor. I'm telling you that you're going to face more discrimination in the church than outside. I've personally seen it. Okay. But that's not the point. When we go to the house of God, we don't go to see people. We don't go to get honor. Our purpose should be let God get all the glory. Right? We go to God to give Him thanks for what He has done for us. Right? I just want to encourage you that if you are feeling disheartened, that God has a plan for you. You are going through a situation where you don't feel that there is an answer. There is an answer. Just trust God for His timing, for His plan, for His purpose. And He's going to do a miracle which is much beyond your imagination. And we have testimonies from here, Sister Edwina and Sister Anita, they're right standing here. And when they got the bad news, probably they thought the whole world has fallen apart. They didn't even know if they'll see the next year. But they picked themselves up. They trusted God. And they let everything in God's hand. And look at them. I just saw some pictures from Sister Anita with Leslie. They went to such a long place, tour. And they are so healthy. They enjoyed it. Sister Alina, she keeps going on trips. Somebody was commenting about her. So God has done such an awesome miracle in our midst, right? And each one of you can testify what God has done. So use those testimonies as a faith to establish your faith and continue to grow in the Lord. Let's close our eyes and just meditate and tell God,